Hi everyone. This video is about The Great Gatsby and F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's going to give you a background into the novel and into the issues within the novel. It's going to provide you context about where the novel kind of takes place and about the author. The author of this novel is F. Scott Fitzgerald. He's an American author. He started writing this novel in 1923 and finished in 1925. It's based on the parties that he went to in Long Island during the same time. The novel itself does take place in New York in the early 1920s. It is his most famous piece of literature. And it's a great example of American life and American culture during the 1920s, and it's all about his experience during that moment. It's a really good example of what American culture was during that time. So the context of the novel, like I said, the novel does take place in the 1920s. The 20s were known as the Roaring Twenties because the economy was really strong, flapper culture was emerging, and bootlegging became a huge source of income for many. It was a really interesting time in the States. People weren't as traditional before the war. This is right after World War One, and people were not as traditional. Everyone was very loose. A lot of people had money, a lot of money to throw around, a lot of money to flaunt, and that's what he writes about. He writes about this culture and the change that had occurred in America and the States, and he talks about just kind of how that change affects the lives of people within the novel. So the economy, first of all, like I said, the economy was very, very strong in the 1920s. This was right after World War I and right before the Great Depression. The stock market saw a huge rise, which led to people to spend money more than ever. People acquired a desire for money, pleasure, material goods, and often flaunted their wealth. Everyone seemed to have money during this period, and everyone was not afraid to show the money and flaunt their money and show how much they actually have. Women changed during this period as well, the way they dressed and the way they behaved. Something called flapper culture emerged. So women started wearing short skirts, they had bobbed hair, and behaving in ways that were traditionally not considered acceptable by their parents. It was very unconventional compared to how they behaved before the war. Women were they were seen as to be reckless. They smoked, they drank, they engaged in casual sex, and they drove cars. Now all of this now seems very normal because this kind of seems like what we do now, but before it was a huge change for them. Women were seen to be way more wild than before, and they were seen to be reckless, and their parents were not happy with the way that they would dress, and it was largely looked down upon by an older generation. Prohibition also existed in the 1920s. In 1918, the United States actually introduced Prohibition, which bans the sale of any alcohol or the transportation of any alcohol or even making any alcohol within the United States. However, gangsters and criminals in the 1920s found a way to supply alcohol illegally to their clients, creating a large and new group of wealthy individuals and creating inequalities in wealth. Because gangsters and these criminals started illegally selling alcohol, they largely became wealthy. It was easy money that they were getting, and the easy money corrupted the idea of the American dream, which is also what this novel is largely about. The American dream is just the belief that they have in the United States that everyone in America has an opportunity for social mobility to move upwards, to be successful and prosperous, largely through hard work. If you work hard, you will be successful. If you work hard, you will move up in life. If you work hard, you will, get what you want. You will achieve your dreams. However, in the States, what had happened in the 1920s were, because there's so many people who were starting to illegally sell alcohol, it became a way to get easy money. And when people started getting easy money, it corrupted the whole idea of the American dream because people weren't working as hard as they used to. And so this novel kind of shows the downfall of the American dream. It shows the quest to try and achieve the American dream, and it shows it shows what the American dream is, and it shows American culture. That's what the idea of this whole novel is. So I hope you enjoy the novel as we read through it. You can always refer to these notes as well to help you understand the themes and get an idea of what the issues and themes within this novel are.